Hey everybody, so here we are back again with the Compaq Presario V6000 laptop. In the previous video I attempted to install Windows 11 on this machine. However, during installation the system would reset, and I suspect it could be an issue with the machine itself. So what I did is I pulled the SSD out of this machine. I begun the installation of Windows 11 from a different system, and once it got to the reboot stage I shut everything down, pulled the SSD back out, reinstalled it into this machine, and here we are. So we're sitting here in the BIOS right now because I had to set the date and time because the CMOS battery is dead on this machine and it doesn't have a primary battery. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And of course, as I mentioned in the previous video, this machine does not meet the Microsoft Elite class minimum system requirements for Windows 11. Let's see what happens here. Okay, here we are. So let's go ahead and connect my mouse here and let's go ahead and run through this setup here, out-of-box experience. Have to be careful I don't knock the power cord loose on this laptop, because if I do it'll shut it right off. So here we are, Windows 11. I don't have internet, of course. We're going to skip that. Now, of course, I should mention that I set up the USB installer using Rufus to bypass the Elite class hardware checks, and also to turn off the internet connectivity requirement, as well as the NAC for a Microsoft account, among other things. I have that featured in a video here on the channel of how to do that. And we are obviously missing a driver right now for graphics. And I'll probably have to manually install the driver, because I think this machine has the GeForce 6100 graphics, which does not play nice with Windows 10, Windows 11 fresh out of the box. You have to manually install a driver for them. Of course, bypass the hi, we're happy you're here. I need the task manager so that way I can kill OneDrive setup. Yeah, this is something I've always done ever since Windows 10. So if we look here, we are definitely using that Turion 64X2 CPU, and it is definitely a bit toasty back there. So Now that we are in, let's go ahead and connect up our internet. That way I can access my network, and this thing can fetch drivers for things it can get. Alright, so it looks like the Ethernet has a driver. So we're still waiting on the taskbar to load. That's something that does take a while on slower machines with Windows 11. So we have that Turion 64 processor. We also have 4 gigabytes of DDR2 memory, the GeForce 6100 or 6150 graphics, and also we have a 256 gigabyte solid state drive. So we'll let this do its thing, and yeah, we're still waiting on that taskbar to load. This might take a little while. Okay, just a moment later we now have our taskbar. So I figured I'd go ahead and resume recording for that. And you can see memory usage is definitely climbing up there because, well, doing lots of stuff now with that internet connection, like installing all the apps and all that good stuff, all the junk we'll never use. You know, I used to rant about OEM PCs like from HP and Dell and brands like that, Gateway, E-Machines, etc. installing lots of preloaded junkware on their OEM Windows installations. But now Microsoft is just as guilty, especially since Windows 8, Windows 10, and Windows 11. Installing all this junk like Instagram, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Spotify, LinkedIn. I mean, just all these things that some people don't use. Like if I go to Facebook or Instagram, I just do it on the browser when I'm on the computer. I don't need the I don't need those extra apps on here. This ain't my phone. But you can see that CPU is definitely getting hit pretty hard. Alright, so while that's going on, let's go ahead and manually grab our driver for our graphics. Okay, let's actually try Windows Update. It actually could have a different graphics chipset on it. And I was talking about this in my recent video about Windows 8.1. Of course, in Windows 10 and Windows 11, instead of being able to download drivers online from Device Manager, it basically dumps you into Windows Update. Something I've never liked at all about Windows 10 and Windows 11. Now, generally, driver installation kind of gets started on its own in both Windows 10 and Windows 11. But either it's not doing it for some reason here, or it just hasn't got to it yet. And of course, you can see we're definitely using some CPU, but CPU activity has come down a little bit. Apparently it has not looked for updates yet. The reason why I don't like how Windows 10 Windows 11 handles driver installation via Windows well, via the internet, is by dumping you into Windows Update. When you go check for updates in Windows Update, generally you'll get the driver updates, but you'll also get loads of other updates that will automatically begin installing when you're trying to get drivers. Again, specifically drivers. So you're trying to get drivers, and then your computer is trying to install everything else at the same time. It's just something I've never been a fan of at all. So, in case you were wondering, as I was saying, here we are downloading updates at, well, of course they're needed updates, but they're not relevant for what I need right now. Like right now, I want drivers. I don't care about cumulative updates. I want drivers. So, for example, let's go back to advanced options and go look for optional updates. You see we have 4 updates available. Driver updates. Again, all this stuff is buried within optional updates. So we have a driver for the trackpad. We actually have a driver update for the laptop's integrated quick launch buttons. Those little buttons that are above the keyboard. Interesting enough. This computer from 2006, of course, does not meet the Microsoft Elite class requirements for Windows 11, but yet we are getting driver updates for even the modem. And of course the audio, there we are. We're going to investigate that graphics driver. I may do that off camera, I don't know for sure. We'll figure that out once we get there. But I was thinking this machine had the GeForce 6100 graphics chipset or something very similar to that. Okay, I had to go into system information here and get the exact model of this dang thing. There it is right there. And I just looked that up, and apparently we have a GeForce 6150M GPU on this system, and the driver for the GeForce 6150M was not included in that packet of drivers. Oh, the 6150 was in there, but not the 6150M. Go figure. So let's go ahead and fetch the driver. So I got a little folder here on my Windows 11 installer of just extra drivers, including the infamous driver that we sometimes need just to get on the internet without crashing the machine. This Gigabit Realtek driver. That's not for this machine though. So what I'm going to do is, oh, good. So this one here, I don't have to run an installer. Everything's already extracted. So let's take this folder. Let's try to update the driver using that. We'll see what it does. Okay, I just might try forcing the driver. See what happens. Okay, so apparently it's the GeForce Go 6150. I'm just going to try to force install it, see what happens here. See if it crashes the system or if the graphics works or not. Okay, let's try something else here. Okay, let's give this a shot. Press and hold Shift and click Restart. You can see this thing is definitely not the fastest, for sure. It's faster than running it on a netbook, but can't say it's a whole lot faster. Yeah, look at this. I'll tell you what, boys and girls, this thing's getting so hot I can smell it. Makes me want to go grab the fire extinguisher out of the living room in case this thing catches fire. Okay, I don't think it's going to catch fire, but it's definitely cooking for sure. Disable driver signature enforcement. That's what we're going to do. Because apparently the driver for the graphics for this machine is not signed. Not digitally signed, rather. Alright, so we're going to select number 7. Disable driver signature enforcement. You'll let this thing start back up. As I mentioned, I could actually smell this thing. It's definitely getting toasty back there. And there's air coming out of the vent. It's just very hot. And obviously putting Windows 11 on this old thing would definitely push it to the max as far as its thermal limits goes, because CPU is being worked to death in this thing. Now again, just keep in mind we have a solid state drive in this thing, so take that into account when you're watching this thing boot up. Okay, so we're going to reattempt that driver installation. So first we will try it using the automatic option. If it doesn't work, we're going to try to force install it. Well, our sound is working. Not sure you can hear or not, but we do have sound now. So we are going to select the driver. Let's see if it'll install. Okay, we have installed a graphics driver. Okay, now let's see if we can get this thing to run at its native screen resolution. Yeah, it's definitely not the right driver, because it thinks it has two monitors. It thinks that it thinks that there's two monitors attached. Of course, we have the laptop display, but this machine, of course, has the VGA port on the side to attach a second monitor, and it's behaving like the other monitor is already attached when it's not. So let's up the screen resolution. Okay, so we may not be running the absolute correct driver, but at least we have something other than the Microsoft Basic Display Adapter driver installed. Alright, so now things are looking a little bit better. And just take a moment, guys and girls, to witness this 2006 computer with its nice, shiny, glossy screen like many 2006 and 2007, or should I say many Windows Vista era computers had, running Windows 11. Now I should note that HP over there apparently also has a glossy screen, so it wasn't just computers from the Windows Vista era, but I mean, look at this thing. Let me get this start menu out of the way. Have a look at that. Alright, let's go ahead and continue on here. I'm going to probably have a third part for this because it's getting late. Yeah, that clock is not correct, of course, as typical with Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11. When you install, it sets the time zone to Pacific time, and of course I'm in Eastern time, so, well, yeah, there you have it. Eastern time. Okay, yeah, so it is getting close to 2 a.m. We're not going to be able to change our desktop background or do any fancy stuff because, well, Windows is not activated. This thing did not have a Windows 10 digital license because it never had Windows 10 on it previously. So, yeah, we're going to be kind of limited in what we can do. But hey, it's much better than what we had back in Windows XP when after 30 days you just simply couldn't use the computer no more. But anyways, yeah, let me go ahead and let this thing install updates. So I think we're going to end it for this part, and in the next part we'll come back after I've installed some software like Chrome and things like that. Nothing too fancy. And we'll give this thing a test run, do some internet browsing on it. We'll do a startup test to see how fast it starts up, all that good stuff. So yeah, here we are. We're going to go ahead and let this thing install updates because we are still missing some other drivers. And I might cut this thing off and just let it... Oh, it's already installing updates right now as I speak. Of course, gotta love Windows Update, does everything in the background. So it's currently installing a big cumulative update for September 2023. So we are running Windows 11 22H2. So let's go look at the build number. I think this might be Moment 3. Let's see. Let's look at the build number. And let me look at what's on the Plexi, because it actually has Moment 3. Okay, so it's not the same OS build number, but we are running 22H2. So there you have it. I love this trade-in to recycle your PC. Anyways, that wraps up for part 2. So to wrap this up, in the previous part, the installer wasn't successful. However, when I used my installer on a different computer, it was also complaining about there being a corrupt file or something like that. It didn't just like reset or nothing like that. It just told me that the installation was canceled due to a file missing or something like that. So I went and recreated the installer from Rufus, and as mentioned early in this video, I dumped the install onto the SSD using a different system. Matter of fact, I used Optiplex 390 to do it, and we popped it back into this machine, and it finished the setup in here we are. So anyways, the oldest laptop I've ever installed Windows 11 on. Here it is running Windows 11. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video from Compaq channel. If this is your first time, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to tick the bell so we get notified of new video posts. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, and share this video as well as the channel with your friends and get the word out. Also, I have a second channel, that's Compaq MTDX. Over there you'll find videos about thunderstorms and weather, cycling, and videos about me personally. Feel free to subscribe over there as well if you like. Again, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for your support.